For it must be a Wednesday, but baby, you know the drill. It's always a Wednesday around here. Patrick Harris, Joe Fisher with you. Let's go. Schultze behind the glass. We're here every single Wednesday from 8 to 10 until the Oregon Ducks football season ends, and we'll get back to our regular time slot from 7 to 9.
Woo! I've got a lot of candy in my system today.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, the candy thing is real.
You tossed all those lollipops that we had, those generic ass lollipops we had sitting in the
they had to go
in the kitchen. They
had to go.
That weaved basket that we had,
and
yeah, it was a smart move. At first, I was like, dude, there was like 150 suckers in there. Like, what are you doing?
And I was like, yeah, and you've grabbed 0 in the last 2 weeks.
And it's true. They were probably longer than 2 weeks. They were there. And now there was a lot of candy in there, and it's more of the fruity sour variety, which I have come to terms with. I prefer the fruity sour flavored things, whether it be Skittles, Laffy Taffy, whatever it is, Airheads, all that.
Sour
kind of
Patch.
Give me that over chocolate stuff
You're
all day
a heathen
long.
then. Okay.
I'm a child at heart.
I run into those people who have these conversations at my job of, do you like the more gummy stuff or do you like the more chocolate stuff? And it's very polarizing. It's all leftover Halloween, right?
Yeah, someone, I don't know, this is one of the salesperson in the building's kids candy that they did not want. So they didn't like this. They liked the chocolate. And I was like, fine with me. So they brought it in, and it had been here for a couple of days, and I just went in on that candy.
Well, and the problem I'm running into at work is that everybody is bringing in their leftover trick-or-treat that they had, and we got plenty of people that are full-bore, full-size candy bars. So they're like, hey, I dropped off
Lucky you.
The rest of my trick-or-treat chocolate candy in the kitchen, go grab what you want. And then you walk in and it's just full-size candy bars. And this fat A has been eating a full-size candy bar probably every day for the last week and a half. And I'm just tired.
You're a little bogged down.
I'm just exhausted.
Feeling that dragging almost.
And then you're like, ooh, a Snickers. Yeah, I love Snickers. And you're like, this is the 5th Snickers I've had in a week.
Yeah, I actually, going to find dinner tonight, I very much was like, we need something lighter. We ended up getting tacos, which is my idea of lighter.
That sounds light to me. I back you on that, Joe.
Onion, cilantro, green sauce.
I back you on that. I back you on that. That sounds light to me. Whether it is or isn't, I back you.
You didn't melt a bunch
beef
of cheese
cheeks, shrimp.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was this place over on the east side. Fantastic. But, yeah, went and had that. And because, just the food lately, the intake has been not good. It's been a lot of fast food. It's been a lot of garbage. And then the candy on top of it all. And then the booze.
Yeah.
The booze is starting to increase. I thought I would start to take a dip, but now we're getting into the holidays here.
The booze is a constant for me. I feel like I actually cut back on booze during the holidays.
Yeah, really?
That way I can drink more during the regular year.
I see. I'm the guy I look for any excuse to party. So Thanksgiving, Christmas, just give it to me, baby.
Yeah, my excuse to party is I woke up.
Okay.
But yeah, I
think that's called a disease.
I
would talk to someone.
I do not have a disease. I do.
The way you said that made it seem like it was like a contagious, I shouldn't be this, ugh.
Well, you didn't cough on me, and all of a sudden I'm slamming bottles of vodka. Yeah, I've got to get away from the candy. I've just got to, because I'm like sitting at my desk and I'm like, wow, there's a full-size Snickers there in my drawer. I guess I'll just pound this down real quick.
This is a tough time of year.
It's a tough time of year. I'm already fat, as you can tell from the YouTube.
You go candy holiday straight into the food holiday, like literally the whole holiday is centered around food, Thanksgiving, into Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you're doing around that time.
Festivus.
A lot of food with that too.
Yeah, I try to just stick to proteins during the holiday. Just eat the meat. It's like a keto diet.
We've all been there. Just eat the meat.
Just eat the meat.
It's a quote I try to live by.
Stuffing, fake calories.
I had some fantastic stuffing over the weekend.
That's awesome, dude.
I had
One
some
time
mashed
I had
pota-
some fantastic dog poop. It was so good.
What?
You're not a stuffing guy?
No, that stuff's so gross.
I'm not a stuffing guy
I
either.
almost swore on the air.
Well, you
That's
should
how I
have-
feel about stuffing.
You should have had this stuffing. But I did have some really good mashed potatoes. Have you ever had like leek mashed potatoes? Like,
yeah.
you have?
Yeah, oh yeah. Baby, restaurant life.
Oh
for
my
20
god.
years.
Life changing.
Oh yeah.
I had them on Saturday and then I had them
Welcome to
again
the show.
Monday. What game changer.
I know.
It will definitely be next time I'm whipping up some mashed potatoes. I'm making leek mashed potatoes.
My wife absolutely loves mashed potatoes. We recently discovered at Costco sometimes they do the prepackaged tacos or whatever, like a meal in
Yes.
one box or one little thing. And we've done the mac
Costco,
and
yeah,
cheese
yeah.
before, but they're mashed potatoes. It's like $10 or $11 for a big thing of them. And they got cheese, they got bacon in them. It is like the best plate of mashed potatoes I've ever had.
Golf balls, get your jeans, and get your favorite mashed potatoes. all
There's
at
this
Costco.
guy I work with who showed me a Instagram account of this guy he used to work with who always does a themed Thanksgiving. His Thanksgivings are gyoza, pizza,
Just had gyoza last night.
sausage, like sausage link hot dogs, but here's the catch. All of it is made with only Thanksgiving food.
Ooh.
So his pizza is the dough and then a layer of gravy
Bold.
with mashed potatoes on top of it and some turkey pieces there. And then they dip it in
Listen,
cranberry sauce.
I'm probably housing that for
I
sure.
watched a video of him taking all of the food from Thanksgiving, putting it into a food processor, and then stuffing it into a sausage.
No.
Like using it and then filling the casing of a sausage and then grilled the sausage, put it on a bun, drizzled cranberry on top of it, and got after it.
That's Jeff Goldblum. Your scientist never stopped to ask why.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah,
the Jurassic Park
never
quote
asked
is.
why.
Have
Yeah,
you guys ever heard of Nutriloaf before?
no.
No. So
Sounds
this,
like fake bread.
Yeah, that's what I've heard of neutral.
yeah, Joe knows what it is. Essentially, it's like a prison meatloaf is what Nutriloaf is. It's
Well, I hate rich meatloaf. Why would I like prison meatloaf?
you wouldn't. I'm just saying, yeah.
Any sort of loaf, I'm kind of just out on.
A loaf of bread, I'm in.
But-
Outside of that,
But prison meatloaf is just basically whatever they got,
she's kind of a loaf.
and it's
ass.
that's mean. No, but it's whatever they got, and they
true.
got just anything thrown into it that's around. That is exactly what you just described in a
I
sausage.
thought that's how they made
disgusting.
booze.
What? Like
Anything with sugar will just ferment it in my toilet.
they do that. It's disgusting, but I've heard it gets them messed up.
Hey Joe, I might have a disease. Would you look down upon me if the only way I could fulfill that disease was
Feed emulsified Thanksgiving ingredients inside a sausage casing.
to make it in a toilet?
Oh.
To make your food or drink in a toilet.
My bev. Like I need that bevy.
I hope we'd get to you before that point.
You hope somebody has talked to me
Yeah.
and brought me back to the living.
Dear God, I hope so.
Yeah, we won't let you get that far. Hopefully, anyways.
No toilet wine for you this holiday season, please.
Well,
Just
wine
stick to
always gives
your-
me a ton of acid reflux too.
Are you not a big wine guy?
No, I love wine. I just have to be careful.
Gotcha.
Have you ever woken up at 1 a.m. and got a cough? And every time you cough, it feels like you want to throw up.
See, and I don't know what it is. I mean, lately it's just the guts sometimes are just feeling a little stiff. I don't know if it's
Oh,
the
the
beer or
bud
the
guts,
wine.
dude.
I mean,
we just hit that ganja and everything's fine after that.
That's true.
The
That
guts are
helps.
fine, but when the throat, every time you cough, you feel like you want to throw up, dude. It's one of the worst things ever.
Getting older though.
where'd that come from?
That's acid reflux,
Oh, yeah, I haven't gotten that yet.
dude. It's the worst.
That sounds that
It's
doesn't sound
awful.
fun.
Getting older, tummy troubles, acid reflux. No, not up for it. Not a fan. It sucks.
So my body is an
Go back to
Adonis.
25, please.
I don't
For the
want your
moment.
life.
Yeah, I mean, just best of luck to all of us. Actually,
Yep.
there's a whole reason that we did a play in elementary school about Santa going on a diet before Christmas. There's a whole production.
What?
Yeah.
Like this
you
was a
know-
written play, or you
Yeah.
guys wrote it yourselves?
Well, I'm sure it's
The teachers came up with it.
teachers. I'm sure it's performed at elementary schools across the nation. It's got a great screenplay.
You know, it's funny. My father-in-law, he like around November takes like 2 weeks off of eating healthy and not drinking, so he can go see the doctor. And he thinks that the doctor
He's gonna fool him.
thinks he's in full health,
He's gonna fool him,
even though he eats out like 6 nights a week and drinks like a champ.
as if the other 10 months of the year aren't gonna have an effect on his
11
body.
and a half.
He sounds like Donald Trump. That dude is in his 70s, eating McDonald's daily.
That guy
and
doesn't drink.
Let's see, that is why he can eat all the fatty
FYI.
stuff,
No, he still's fat.
but he doesn't drink. And hey,
You seen that ass?
your liver-
That's a dump truck.
hey, but he can golf too. That guy.
Absolute
That guy
dong.
can't golf. But that guy, he's got to win the best dump truck ass of any president you've ever seen.
He's
I
the
don't
big
know.
dumper of
Grover
presidents.
Cleveland had an absolute
that's true.
donk on him.
And he was elected twice.
Yeah, that's why.
Fattest
They're like-
president of all time.
Oakley dokley.
You know what
let's-
America
let's-
likes? America likes a big ass. That's why they put
Big
him in there for
dumper.
a second
Ah,
term.
girls. not boys.
Oakley dokley. Let's get away from that as fast as possible. We got a good show for you guys lined up tonight.
Googling fattest presidents of all time.
This is basically going to be a little mini manager's show with a little sprinkle of why I hate the Yankees. And if you're a Yankee fan, why you should be absolutely massively concerned. So we got a lot to get to, so stick with us. There's the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit VancouverFord.com. When we come back, what, Joe? You got something?
William Taft, 332, largest ever.
How tall was he, though?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
but
he wasn't tall. He's got to be like
Because if
5'9".
you're like 7'2" and 3 bills, like I get it.
Do you see this graph? He is.
He is clearly
He
bigger.
is, yeah, clearly above the next person who was Grover Cleveland, and then,
Did you know Grover Cleveland, or did you just pull that out?
Oh, I feel like that's a pretty well-known
Yeah, you
presidential
look at
fact
him, you
that-
remember his the mustache and the
Yeah,
fat face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Grover
I remember
Cleveland,
him when I was there. Yeah, I voted for him twice.
thick boy, beef boy.
Boy.
And then Donald Trump coming in at number 3, tied with Teddy Roosevelt
Uh,
at 237.
William Howard Taft, 5 feet 11 inches, and I'm assuming that's like a football roster, 5 feet 11 inches.
5'11",
I think he's a bit
332.
shorter than that.
Not
Damn.
Taft.
Yeah, Taft. William Howard Taft.
Thick
He-
boy.
Taft is number one?
He was 5'11" and
Yeah,
over
Yeah,
350.
332.
Whoa.
That's a chunk, dude. That's
makes me feel
a
good.
big chungus right there.
350.
He's like the reason the Michelin Man was born.
Guys, I'm pretty much 5'11", 235. So
So
me-
tack on another 100.
Yeah, put another 100 on me, and that's what Will H. Taft looked like.
I like
God.
that you called him Will H.
Will H. Bill.
Like Will
Billy.
I Am.
Billy Taft.
Will H and Fergie just dropped a new hit single. All right, when we come back, I want to get into something that surprised everybody, but also kind of makes a ton of sense. There's a lot to get to. This is the Hot Corner, Portland Sports Leader, 1080 The Fan.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing together.
$8:19 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. We are live from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge, which is a lot more populated this week as I drove by it.
Oh, stop! With your
Boom!
liberal agenda or conservative agenda,
Roasted.
or I don't know. I think that's a pretty bipartisan issue in
Yeah, I
this
was gonna
city.
say, I don't think not wanting to deal with the homeless is very political at this point.
I
think
didn't
we're
have to deal with
all
them. I
sick
just drove by.
I
I just saw
okay,
it was populated.
You didn't
Did you
have
hear
to
about
deal
my
with them,
car?
but yeah, Mr. Fisher did.
I did not. Should we save this? Or do you want to just like, I mean, I would look at the clock here in front of me, but it says time to break, bitch. And so I have to look somewhere else for a clock.
I think Rob broke that clock.
I don't know. I'm going to blame, that looks like a Brandon Sprague.
No, I
No,
specifically.
I have a clock in front of me and it says time to break.
Oh, I was
bitch.
like, wait, that says on the computer? Where?
The only
yeah,
reason it says that is because Rob tried to put batteries or fix it, and
Yeah.
nope.
Patrick, Dirty Mike, and the boys got into the Corolla, and they had their way with it. They had their way in the F Shack.
Wait, this is the backpack and you chased him down?
Toiletry bag.
Oh, I already know this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already know
Oh,
this.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah, we talked about it last
me and the homeless aren't cool right now. Sometimes we're cool. Well, most of the time we're not. But
I got a
we're
new
especially not cool right now.
I got a new camp set up right where I get off the freeway in Vancouver. Vancouver declared state of emergency for their crisis.
Yeah, I wonder what the situation is like in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, Oregon?
No, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, I'm in Milwaukee every single day and it's that seems fine over there.
Well, I'm sure there's one empty house in Milwaukee,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
very
whose
nice,
is that?
expensive one.
formerly owned by one Craig Counsell.
Ooh, that, my friends, is what we call a professional transition. And that's where I want to
I'm
start
done for the
right here.
night. I'll see you later.
Joe's out of here. Thank you, Joe, for your time. We'll be here. It'll just be me and Schultze. That is great. As Joe mentions that, we'll transition to that. Craig Counsell, in probably the biggest off-season move
I needed to get off my window.
we've had.
immediately.
No, that was great. In the biggest off-season move that definitely nobody saw coming. Craig Counsell, we saw, was being courted potentially by the Mets. The Yankees might be interested. I've always thought Counsell was a solid manager and was a great player. Probably a top 5 all-time batting stance. And he's up there
Right,
with,
you are there.
he's up there with Ken Griffey Jr. of batting stances that are just beautiful.
Hell yeah.
And I always respected him very much. Him taking that Cubs job as he signs a 5-year, $40 million deal. Is that what it is? I just had it in front of me, but my crack stat
You were
team,
asking for the math.
crack stat
and
team
the-
in my ear right now is telling me that yes, 5-year, $40 million. And that is $8 million a year because I can do math better than anybody. Let me tell you, nobody has ever done math as good as me. And nobody ever will do math as good as me.
I'm the best.
I'm the best.
at math.
Let me tell you, I am the best. Anyway, let's back this up. Craig Counsell is the new manager of the Chicago Cubs.
Yes.
And I find this fascinating. A lot of the articles that get spread around kind of talk about how he's reshaping the payment structure of managers. The average manager's salary in baseball is $1.5 million. I believe Dave Roberts in Los Angeles makes around that. And now Craig Counsell is going to make $8 million a year to manage the Cubs. I do love the idea of Terry Francona and like Tony La Russa 20 years ago before he was racist and a drunk going, excuse me? How much money do they make? This looks like college football money to me, right?
Yeah, you don't see dollar amounts this much normally.
I want the
but-
guy, so pay him.
Yeah.
I think that's what's the most fascinating part of it. And we'll get to him and the Cubs in a second. But I think that's what's insane. Do we?
I mean, do you have up biggest contracts? Where does this put him at now?
I mean, as far as managers in history. This number has been near the top of what managers has made for a while. Like I think Joe Torre, when he retired, and this was not at the Yankees but at the Dodgers, he was making about $8 million that season. Which now in 2023, that's what Council's making. And most managers, you talk about standard salaries. I think you just named a couple of the bigger ones of skippers in MLB right now, like Scott Service, for instance, Mariners. He's probably only making like $1.5 million. And I would say there's at least a third, if not more, major league managers that are sitting around that salary range.
According to Bob Nightingale, that just wonderful human being full of great stats and opinions. Bob Melvin made $4 million during the 2023 season for the Padres. Bob Nightingale also reported that 6 managers in MLB made less than $1 million in the 2023 season.
That's disgusting.
With a staggering 15 managers earning 1.75 or less.
Actually, and I was wrong. Scott Service, he is 29th at 800,000.
So my
God.
question, and 800,000 to watch baseball every single day and do nothing sounds great. Scott Service, paging.
No wonder they don't fire him.
Yeah, like just Aaron Boone made like 1.5. But what I'm saying is
Shocking. Like Alex Cora, the same, 800.
yeah.
That's crazy. To me.
Yeah, and so I think what it is I'm comparing Council to college football because that's what Herb makes at Ohio State. That's what Lane Kiffin makes at Ole Miss. That's college football money. That's NFL money. It's surprising to see it come into Major League Baseball. And I think it raises the question, is a manager worth that war, for lack of better terms?
Well, Jeff Passan backs up what you say. Craig Counsell's $8 million a year deal with the Cubs is an industry-shaking deal, he says. In recent years, multiple coaches have pointed out that it's more lucrative financially to take a job with a college program than an MLB team. Counsell's deal
In baseball.
Council's deal could help change that in MLB.
Like, are you telling me like what old Pat make down at Oregon State? You think he made more than everybody else did in Major League Baseball?
Like what's Waz making right now? I bet it's more than
You know what I mean?
a third of Major League
Like
managers for the
Pat
Ducks.
down at Oregon State built himself a juggernaut, won a couple natties, was always in the college World Series, built a program, put multiple draft picks, including number 1 overalls. Like, is he making 2.5 while Alex Cora of the Boston Red Sox is making $800K?
Back in 2018, when Pat Casey was still the manager of the Beavers, or I guess the head coach in baseball is what you call it, $800,000 salary.
He's making the same money
Back
as
then.
Alex Cora
today.
at the Boston Red Sox. And say what you want about Alex Cora, but the Boston Red Sox?
Exactly.
You would think, oh, the Yankees, yeah, we'll pay $10 million. Alabama will pay $10 million.
I got SEC schools for you from last year.
Yeah.
Salaries for all
Yeah,
the
hit it.
SEC. Vanderbilt's Tim Corbin, $2.4 million.
That guy
Vanderbilt.
makes more money than the average manager in baseball. And
Vandy has a great program, though.
in baseball.
Yeah,
Oh, my
in
God.
baseball.
You were saying SEC. I instantly thought
No.
football.
So that's
Come
an
on. I
SEC
instantly
baseball
thought-
coach.
Yeah, but still a
all right.
baseball coach. And that's
But
just
that's a
one.
Pat Casey type guy.
That
That's a
is just
juggernaut program.
One.
Number 1 overall picks, natties, etc.
Ole Miss, 1.6 mil. Texas A&M, 1.5. Tennessee, 1.5. Arkansas, 1.35. Florida, 1.3. Mississippi State, 1. All of them except, what is that? Georgia, South Carolina, Kentucky, and Alabama, all SEC schools are paying at least $1.25 million for their coach a year.
The only thing I will say about this, though, is, and why the argument might be made that those college coaches deserve that money, and why maybe an Alex Cora, a Dave Roberts, etc., don't make that money, is you have to recruit to where at the professional level you have a GM. And this isn't, I listened to Primetime earlier today and talking about Belichick. This isn't a Belichick thing where it's like you're the coach and the GM. No manager in baseball is the coach and the GM. Sure, they get consulted, they get asked, they have their input, but no manager is actually player personnel. So that is probably why they get away with paying managers so little. My question now is, as Craig Counsell now gets 8, and the highest paid guy last year was 4, Is this about to start a new precedent of how important your manager is? Bruce Bochy just won a World Series in his first year in Texas, a perennial can't get over the top team. And Bochy walked in to a team that is massively flawed with their $1 million ace going down and still wins a World Series. Is this the start of the bidding war for the best managers? Guys like Francona, why are you going to Cleveland, Tito? You should be going to LA, New York, Chicago, Houston, Boston. Is this the beginning of the new war?
I believe that it is when you put when you have guys going after teams rather, and then this is the team that wins out with this contract, and then also the fact that you went interdivision. I mean, the Brewers, you saw with their owner, he was pissed off about this. Like,
Yeah.
even for Counsell to be like, I'm going to piss some people off about this, but okay, like this changes things where if you want the best manager, if you want your guy, you're going to have to pony up. And now the Cubs, I think they're just looking at this is an investment worthwhile, because if you look at the Brewers, I think it's they made the playoffs. How many seasons was he there? Five seasons, 6 seasons?
Made him every year.
A Counsell?
Yeah.
He was there 8 seasons. He made the playoffs 5 out of the last 6
Yeah, there
years.
you go. That's what it was. And it's like before he was there, the Brewers had made the playoffs 4 times in their team history.
But
I'm looking at payrolls over the last few years. Cubs had more payroll than the Brewers. Brewers are a smaller market to Chicago. They're the baby to Chicago. Milwaukee they're in the shadows of Chicago. And so to him, he was like, dude, I'm going to get paid an S-ton. I'm going to have way more payroll to work with. And I'm a better manager than David Ross, so I'm going to be able to make this team better probably too.
And I totally want to get into what Counsell in Chicago looks like. I mean, because that to me is absolutely fascinating. But to finish this up, and we'll wrap it up because we're way over. But if you're Rocco Baldelli
I've seen worse.
in Minnesota, if you're Kevin Cash in Tampa, if you're these managers that are well respected, doing a lot with little, what does that do for you? If somebody wants cash out of Tampa, do you just say, yeah, Counsell got 8, we'll give you 6? And Kevin Cash is like, see ya. I'm out of here.
I see bidding wars starting now for MLB managers.
Yeah.
I mean, sabermetrics, the analytics part of the game, unfortunately, it seems like teams have kind of leaned on hiring a nerd or two. And instead of, paying the manager to make the decisions, they're leaning on these analytics guys to give the manager a printout of what decisions they should make during the game. But we've seen it. It's the perfect marrying. Bruce Bochy's an old school baseball guy and marries all of that knowledge with his feel of the game. And if you're telling me that that's not worth $4 or $5 million a year in your dugout, you're freaking crazy.
Yeah, you're out of your
stupid.
mind. You're out of your mind. Great point, Schultz. And we'll end on this. And that's what we'll talk about at the top of the second hour. The Yankees are going through this crisis right now of analytics versus who's going to be in the clubhouse. So stick around for the 9 o'clock hour because we'll get into that. But this is unprecedented. This will be fun to watch. When we come back, I do want to dive into what does Counsell mean for the Cubs? Like, what does this move really mean for them? And also, FYI, can someone go check on David Ross? That man might have got dirty. We'll do all that next. But first, Schultz with sports.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Portland Trailblazers back at it right now, tipping off a 3-game road trip in Sacramento against the Kings. It's going pretty well for them so far tonight. 7:50 to go in the third quarter. Kings do lead Portland 69-67. Domantas Sabonis leading the way for Sacramento with 17 points. Jeremy Grant has 21 for Rip City. In the NFL, the practice window opening up for Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson. It means the team is going to have 3 weeks to activate him as he returns from a hamstring injury. The New York Giants officially announcing they will start undrafted rookie Tommy DeVito at quarterback against the Giants, with former USC Trojan Matt Barkley serving as his backup. Big news out of baseball, the Los Angeles Angels hiring Braves third base coach Ron Washington as their new manager. He led the Texas Rangers to back-to-back World Series in 2010 and 2011 before resigning in 2014. And out of the world of college football, the top of the new playoff rankings looking basically the same as last week. Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, and Florida State. Your current 4-team playoff, Washington and Oregon, still sitting at 5 and 6. Oregon State taking a leap up to number 12. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on pro and college football from across the country at Spirit Mountain Casino. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Go deeper on the Trailblazers. The Rose Garden Report with host Sean Hyken. Download the Rose Garden Report on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
X-Golf is the home of indoor golf. There's X-Golf Tualatin, X-Golf Vancouver, and coming soon, X-Golf Beaverton. The world's most advanced golf simulators and a great sports bar atmosphere. Play on a legendary golf course while watching a game. Our fall pricing special has made it more affordable than ever. You can take lessons too, or play in a league. Host your event or party at X-Golf. Rent one bay, a few bays, or the whole place. Log on to X-Golf PNW for all the info and to make your tee time.
Are you craving delicious Mexican food? Hey, it's Dusty. Whenever my family and I want a delicious meal, our go-to is Victor Rico's Mexican food. Victor Rico's has fresh food with high-quality ingredients and speedy service. They'll satisfy your hunger in no time. Order online at victorricos.com or download the mobile app.
Dell's Black Friday event is their biggest sale of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top-brand accessories. It's the perfect time to upgrade any home, business, or gaming setup powered by Intel Core processors. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of huge savings and free shipping. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and this is my show. What, you expecting something different? Whether you're looking for deep, insightful dives into the day's top sports stories, that's why we have guests, right, Nigel? Or simply how to get change for 100, you'll find it on the Tony Kornheiser Show. From football picks, from the best prognosticators in the business, including a monkey, to real-time baseball playoff analysis, to traffic in an area where you don't live. We got you covered. My friends come on, and you know them. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The smart play this season is Spirit Mountain Casino. You can watch and wager on all the pro and college football action from across the country, in person or on the app. Don't miss any of the excitement. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
The Portland Metro RV Show is back and better than ever. Join us November 9th through the 12th at the Expo Center. It's the largest and best RV show in Oregon, with more than 400 RVs filling the Expo Center. New manufacturers, new models, and new floor plans. Get 2-for-1 admission coupons at portlandmetrorv.com. The Portland Metro RV Show is back November 9th through the 12th at the Expo Center. Just imagine where it might take you.
This is the Hot Corner with Harrison Fisher on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
$8:38 here. Coming up in the second hour, we'll dive into the Yankees and why I believe that might be an absolute disaster waiting to happen.
You're shocked that that's happening, though?
My God.
Kind of not. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like when you're in rush hour traffic and there's a wreck up ahead. You're like, really? A wreck? And then you're like, well, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
They are doing exactly what I have been lamenting the Mariners are doing with their hitting staff. So we'll get into that, but it's not good.
Yeah,
not
so I
good.
want to dive into the New York teams in general, the Mets as well, who hired a new manager and Pete Alonso and all that stuff going on up
From
there.
the Yankees.
And in about 15 minutes, I'd like to get into new managers in other places, just for funsies. But I want to stick with this Craig Counsel.
Is there some tissue in here? Your nose, all right?
No, I don't
Bill?
like to blow my nose. I don't want to lose anything.
What is that mirror? That small cut up piece of mirror right in
Oh,
front of
don't
you?
worry about
Little
that.
razor blade.
No,
a
don't worry
straw?
about that. Don't worry about that.
Can we get a wide shot on that?
Don't worry about that. I would like a wide shot because this camera makes me look really fat.
Patrick, I hate to tell you,
Oh no, Joe.
you look beautiful today.
Thank you.
You do, and
Jesus.
I don't think you look really fat, Patrick.
Jesus Cristo.
I think it's just the angle. We all got to get with the right angle. Like in this angle, it shows my under chin. It sucks. It's just, it's not great. You don't have an under chin, Joe. I don't know what you're doing.
My problem is my eyes are normally squinty. And so as we're on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/1080am, the fan, I feel like I look like us. Anyway, I want to get back into this Craig Counsell thing and what it actually means for the Cubs. I find this fascinating by the Cubs because, Joe, we spent all last season and we were a little heartbroken they didn't make the playoffs.
Cubs, we were.
Yeah, they were super hot going in. Cody Bellinger had a resurgence. Suzuki, boy, I love that guy. And
Nico Horner.
And they look at Justin Steele on the rotation. They look like a team that is kind of.
You can tell we like them.
Yeah, you can tell we know their players. They look like a team that kind of have some building blocks to really become something. And that's what fascinated me the most about getting Craig Counsell is I don't know if I've seen a team like, let's take your Orioles, okay? Let's take the Astros in 2015, okay? Look at these teams that you can see, the Royals in 13, 14, 15. These teams that you can see that are on the precipice of doing something great. Just saying, you know what? This is what's going to take us over. Get rid of that guy, bring in this guy. I think it's kind of a genius move by the Cubs.
I think that the Cubs did see that. They saw what they had with this team this year and that they can build upon it. And if they wanted to build themselves not as just a roster standpoint and push themselves for the next 5-6 seasons.
Yeah, you don't want to go 575.
You had to make the upgrade at the managerial position. And again, you saw Counsell in your division. What have you been doing the last 5-6 seasons?
He's beating you, and you have a better team.
Yes. And so I don't blame them doing it at all. I think that's what they saw is like we're in the right spot right now to jump on this as a team roster wise. So let's make the move as a manager as well. Sorry, David, which is like, damn.
I know. And that's where we'll switch to real quick because I do want to get back to Counsell, but you brought it up.
You see
David
teams,
Ross, like, bro, they loved you.
Well, and you see
we were
teams
kind of in on David Ross.
Now just the service.
I'm
he's
not
been
as much
there.
as you guys.
Well, service. He's been there for 10 billion years. I mean, Brandon Hyde, he got the chance to lose 100 games 4 years in a row. Seemingly.
AJ Hinch lost himself a ton of games in Houston.
I was going through the managers list today. It's like there's guys that they get these leash. I mean, it's like Mark Kotze.
He's coming back next year.
Yeah, and it's
he
like
actually interviewed with the Mets, I believe.
Are they?
We all saw that.
Are they going to give him 300 lost seasons in a row, but see if they can get themselves out of it? I mean, the Cubs, yeah, they sucked for a little bit after they got rid of their World Series kind of championship roster, but they didn't really give Ross the chance to get back like to that playoff run. And they said, hey, let's make the move and get the manager that we know is going to be successful.
Yeah, I would argue. Sorry, Jordan. I'll just be quick.
It's all good.
I would argue that this was Ross's best campaign. They finally had a good season around him, and you can't tell me that because you struggled in the last 2 weeks of the season that cost your job. Because Bruce Bochy struggled in the last 2 weeks of the season and just won his 4th World Series.
Well,
so I don't think that's necessarily fair, but. Yeah, they just kind of said, we don't care. We're out.
This is something that you don't really see MLB teams specifically doing very much, poaching a manager either available or from another team while you've got a manager. But I'm pretty sure the last team to do this was the Chicago Cubs when they fired Rick Renteria and hired Joe Madden at the same time. They had literally brought him over and had him on the staff for a year as their skipper, said, you know what, we see a different direction happening here. So no, Chicago is not the city. The Cubs specifically will not give you 3 to 4 seasons of 100+ losses, each year to try and handle that going forward. So I'm not surprised that this is happening, but I'm not really as huge of a David Ross fan as you guys either. I just never was in on him, and not just him, but I'm not really big on managers in general. Stephen Vogt.
I did not say I was a fan. I'm just shocked that they didn't give him a couple more years.
I think I'm with there with Joe too. Yeah,
Okay.
I just thought Ross was kind of embodied what the Cubs wanted. Yeah, he was maybe a little bit of a holdover, but I didn't think he deserved to get fired.
I'm not the hugest fan of these young, or I guess they're not young as managers, but as players, but as managers they technically are younger managers that are brought in with no experience, and because they're beloved. Stephen Vogt, who just got hired by the Guardians,
Which I hate that move. I absolutely hate that move.
But that's literally the reason that David Ross was brought into the Cubs initially.
So David Ross, he brought in his first year was 2020 COVID year. They made the wild card. But still, 34-26 record, not a bad record that year.
You make the playoffs, yeah. Everybody's on an equal play.
71-91 the next year, improved to 74-88, way better in the second half of 22. That was the case after the All-Star break. And then this year, you were 4 games above 500, just missed out on the playoffs.
You tell me Don Mattingly, who's sitting in Toronto as a bench coach, wouldn't have given you the same exact record, though?
You mean the future manager of the Milwaukee Brewers?
There you go. See, there's just so many guys out there. I cannot stand guys that do not have to go be a manager anywhere. Get the feel of the damn game. That is super important as a skipper in the big leagues. And for you to just, I was a catcher, I know how things work. I get it. Half the managers in MLB are catchers, but I don't like young managers without any experience just being given a helm like that. Stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that conversation goes on to even further where I'd like to get to next is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim hire their new manager who was linked to a different job, and now new names are being linked to that job. And it's just kind of this, we're almost in an impasse of which route do you want to go? And that's what I want to get into next, talking about our boy Ronnie in LA and what that ripple effect is around the league.
Is
and
that
Stephen
white
Vogt
powder on that glass?
Nothing. Let it go. 2 World Series in a row. We'll get into more managerial talk. Boy, we are a bunch of nerds today. Managers. I love it as well. We'll get to that next. The Hot Corner, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Suk. A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air is continuing to grow. In addition to Clausen, Hunky
Get to that coming up in the second hour. But there's some also so to finish up kind of this managerial musical chairs. Ron Washington is announced as the new manager of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst thing ever.
I thought you said Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
In Cali, next to Disneyland.
Yeah, maybe so. The Los Angels of Angeles of Los Angeles, Anaheim. They hired Ron Washington to be their next manager. And I'm very curious about this real quick. We don't get a lot into it because Anaheim, in shocking news, is going to suck next year. So I'm not worried about this.
No,
and Ron Washington is not the reason that Ohtani is going to re-sign.
Because the media thinks that he's going back.
No, they're wrong. I'm curious because I heard reports that Ron Washington was linked to the Houston job because Dusty worked. Ron Washington has gained so much credibility as a third base coach and bench coach in Atlanta.
He's basically just like Dusty Baker, like 100 pounds lighter, though.
Yeah, exactly. And the man likes to party. So what baseball player doesn't want to party with Ron Washington? Hell, I'd have him on right now. We wouldn't talk baseball.
He'd love it.
We'd just be talking about like your favorite razor blades, your favorite clubs. Like, do you like them tall? Are you an ass man? Are you an up top man? Like, what kind of guy are you? Ronnie Washington is a guy that I want to hang out with. But I'm curious as to why he took the Angels job, which tells me that the Astros were, in fact, not actually interested in him.
Which is stupid.
But it leads me to the question, why would you leave the Atlanta Braves? I have to imagine Ronnie's in L.A. because he thinks there's a building project. He's instantly going to improve the defense. That's what he's done. He took 2 Texas Rangers teams to the World Series that, in my opinion, both years had no business being in the World Series. And they lost because they had no business being there. So here he is taking another job. They're not going to bring back Ohtani. They might trade Mike Trout, but maybe he's really here to actually rebuild the club. The biggest thing that I wonder about this, who's getting the Astros job? Because if it's not Ron Washington, who is it?
Yeah, I haven't seen or read anything. I've been trying to keep track of all the. I mean, it was like a whirlwind yesterday of who was getting hired and who wasn't. And so, as far as the Astros job, I don't know who's out there that's left. I mean, you're picking up a World Series roster essentially. So, they want to shoot big. I imagine.
That's what I'm leaning to. I think Ron Washington getting signed in Anaheim says more about the Astros job than Ron Washington or the Angels job because, sorry, Ron Washington, I'll see you in 3 years when you're on the unemployment line. Like, we just know how this is going to go.
Oh, Art Moreno's, sorry, I got to do something.
He is 1,000 times better than Phil Nevin, but he's 1,000 times better than Phil Nevin. It's not like bringing in Bob Melvin or Terry Francona or Joe Torre or a non-insane racist Tony La Russa. But this has me really curious about what the Houston Astros are going to do. I hear Brad Ausmus is being thrown around again.
Joe Espada right now apparently is the leader in the clubhouse.
Brad Ausmus would literally be like a service 2.0 because he's looking to be like a front office guy. That's what he's been before.
Well, they almost hired him to be the GM and then didn't give him the gig.
Exactly.
Sports Illustrated, they have a quote from Brad Wakai in SI.com.
Oh, I love the guy. Read his stuff all the time.
Oh, big fan.
Big fan.
He says it's starting to feel like a foregone conclusion that the Astros will eventually hire bench coach Joe Espada to become their manager.
Who was Dusty's bench coach?
And AJ Hinch's. He's been there for a bit.
He's been there since 2018.
Oh, so he knows all about trash cans and stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's...
No wonder they want to hire him.
Yeah, no wonder. So he's Alex Cora, not named Alex Cora.
The Craig Council and Ron Washington stuff was all up front. They're like, let's just act like we want to hire somebody outside of the organization. But, hey, trust us.
Realistically,
We know
we need
we're
to keep
keeping
people
here.
in stuff.
Yeah. They'd hire the garbage can if they could.
One name I'm not sure if...
Draw a mustache on it.
God. One name I'm not
do
sure
love Ron
that.
Washington's mustache.
Put a
It's so
giant
great.
hat on the
It's so
top
great.
of it.
Plus, he's got the Costanza around it. God, I love him. I love Ron Washington.
That's true. No, one name that I'm not
when
sure.
I'm 60, I'm gonna do blow and bang chicks.
One name I'm not sure is getting a bunch of traction, but has been brought up initially in the Astros manager search is Jeff Bannister, former Texas Rangers manager. I actually would be super scared with
kind
him.
of built that Rangers team, and they were better than they should have been when he was there.
And honestly, I know that he was kind of lax in the last couple of years, but I don't think they should have fired him in the first place. He was in the dugout with the D-backs for their World Series, so he's literally, I mean, he just watched all this. He's ready to go, would not be shocked, and honestly, I'd be pretty scared if they went with Jeff Bannister. So,
what's a worse move? Not based on manager, but based on fit. What's a worse move? Mendoza in New York? Vogt in Cleveland?
ooh.
Washington in Anaheim? Which one of those is worse? Or a little early, fair or foul?
I mean, early, I'm going to say Mendoza. I feel like Cohen is looking at that just like, fine, whatever. Just give that dude money. Like, whatever.
I need 2 years to get by.
I got $8 billion I'm about to spend on a new complex around the stadium.
Boy,
so
I wish I lived in Queens. I bet you that's gonna be dope.
So let's give this
It's
guy,
like Phil Knight around the Moda Center. That's gonna be dope.
theme of the show. Let's give this new manager absolutely nothing on the payroll. Let's not hire a GM either.
And then blame him for everything when it goes wrong.
boom, I just saved myself $100 million over
So
the
you
next
think Mendoza's
few
the
years.
worst?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna go Vogt. I know that Mendoza is also he's at least been in the dugout, as a bench coach. So Vogt was a bullpen coach and a player before
Catcher.
But he's a catcher, so he knows exactly how the game works. I get it.
The quarterback on the field.
I just don't understand why all of a
Shortstop.
sudden these guys have changed to having to do 5 years in the minors and learn the game they know the game now. It's BS, man.
Coach must
I
have
almost
lied to
swore
me.
now just because of that. Like, I'm mad about it.
I think I'm with you. I think Vogt is a terrible hire.
Coach must have lied to me to get me to play catcher. You're like the quarterback, man.
No, shortstop's the quarterback.
Didn't
Come
his
on. They're
wife-
sexy, they're taller.
Didn't his wife or ex-wife now file a domestic violence case in court against Stephen Vogt like a couple years ago? Nobody's talking. It's so funny. We live in the Me Too world now. Nobody brought that up, and I'm gonna bet once somebody digs that up on X, he may not have an easy weekend.
Well, who knows? We got Phil Neville in Portland now, so who knows what that
Yeah, I'm
hell's
sure
going
that the
on.
dude that just got hired for an MLB manager position is going to have a rough week.
Hey, another Oregonian that only lasted 2 days with the Arizona Diamondbacks. What was a longtime Mets second base? Wally Backman. There you go. He literally got hired by the Arizona Diamondbacks and then dismissed 2 days later because of his past criminal history.
Well, all this is going to be wild and enticing, and I can't wait to see how it all explodes in all of their faces, and I hope I'm at least wrong on one of them, but I don't think I'm wrong on Craig Counsell. I think he's going to be great in Chicago. So shout out to him, and I hope Ron Washington doesn't exit the league after his poor stint in Anaheim. When we come back, hour 2, let's get into these New York teams. What the hell is going on in the Bronx? Cashman blowing up on people. Is Aaron Judge running the team? What is the Steinbrenner know what's going on? God, I wish this was the 90s. Loaded second hour, the hot corner, 10A the Fan.
Hey, it's Souk, and let me tell you, there's a huge difference between having just a backyard and a true outdoor
the latest special offers for our listeners. That's you at servicepatriots.com/thefan.
Dude, you spanked that Reed. You pulled down the pants, had its little bottom, and you said, "Bam."
You know, I try really hard to have great reads. It's like the Vancouver Ford track. Thanks, Joe. Adios. I retire.
That was good.
It's like the Vancouver Ford text line at 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit VancouverFord.com. I personally purchased a vehicle from Vancouver Ford, and they're excellent. They did treat me right during, before, and they are currently still treating me well.
Just take that Dakota 54% mentality with your reads. You'll be all good. 54% of the time, you get it.
I think
It's
that
okay.
was a 54% win percentage on that read right there.
Ouch.
Here's a quote from pitcher Adam Oller, who I don't know what team he is on, but it says he's a pitcher, so I assume he is in Major League. Oh, he was on the Oakland A's and
the Mariners.
and the Cleveland Guardians and the Mariners. There you go.
On their roster, at least this year. They picked him up in a waiver move.
He went on to say about Stephen Vogt getting hired, and I quote, "I couldn't be happier for him and his family. I think Cleveland just made the best decision they could have. I can't think of a better man to coach and mold young players better than Vaught. I think we all knew it was just a matter of time before he was given a head coaching job. He's definitely earned it. As good of a player as he was, I believe he's now entering his true calling, being able to work with and shape the future of the game. I personally can't wait to see what all he accomplishes and wish him the best of luck going forward."
Another great quote about Stephen Vogt. Stephen earned a reputation as one of the best teammates in the game across his 16-year career as a player. We've greatly enjoyed the opportunity to get to know him over the past several weeks, said Guardians President of Baseball Operations Chris Antonetti. Stephen has thought critically about the type of leader and manager he wants to be, his deep care for others, his ability to build meaningful relationships with those around him, and his open-mindedness and curiosity makes him an ideal fit for our club going forward. We couldn't be more excited to partner with Stephen.
Another quote, "Stephen is a man's man. If I was not married to my current wife in a different life, I wish I could have an apartment with him." Wait, what? That's a weird quote.
But Joe, you're getting at something here. What are you getting at?
Apparently Stephen Vaught, good dude. Whether that leads to managerial success, we'll see. But as you can see, ringing quotes and endorsements from around the league.
And we have spent the better part of the break trying to find any reason why he is not a great person to hire, and we cannot find one. Sounds like a good guy to me.
He just gets the job and turns into the worst human ever. Just the reports that come out of that clubhouse.
Sounds like a good guy to me. And that's, I think, where they're going with, a lot of these player hires. I remember Rocco Baldelli. I mean, he was the future of baseball. It's like a Grady Sizemore. Grady Sizemore and Rocco Baldelli were these guys that they couldn't do anything wrong. They were three-sport athletes, ready to take over, ready to be amazing, and injuries plagued their playing seasons, but did not prevent the fact that they knew what they were doing. And I think Steven is the same way right here.
Steven, you're already going first name
I'm
basis.
going Steve.
Steve.
I'm going Steve.
My boy Steve.
I'm going Steve. Maybe that's what it is. And as we talk,
and your Guardians.
My Guardians. And as you talk about Craig Counsell, I mean, Counsell was a dude on a team. He was never the superstar, but frequently when I watched him play, he seemed to me like the smartest guy in the room. Like, at least on the field. And nobody can walk up to the home plate to take an at-bat and have a batting stance like that and not believe in themselves.
That's true. That guy knows baseball if he's doing that.
Yeah, it's like Sheffield.
He knows how to hit a ball.
It's like Gary Sheffield. I know you're roided out of your GD mind, but no one is standing up there and swinging a bat violently before you're even taking a pitch. You got to believe in it. Craig Counsell believed in it.
He definitely did, man. That was one of them.
Do you think he gives batting stance instructions to people?
Well, I mean,
I hope so.
Do you think Christian Yelich looks at Craig
I think
Counsell
that-
and he's like,
I
really?
think that might be in his job description, you know.
You think
I-
Yelich looks at him
That
and goes,
might be on the Indeed job posting
Really?
as far as requirements. Must be able to give tips on batting technique.
wait, but coach, like, hey, Skip, like,
We saw your stance, boss.
you seen this, right?
Yeah, and then he shows them the rest of the clip of him hitting bombs and him being a decent at-bat player.
He also, do you want to know something fun about Craig Counsell?
His name is an alliteration.
Do you want to know what the most famous moment in Craig Counsell's career is?
You're gonna tell me.
I am, but I want you to guess.
Oh,
I'm gonna guess
I
like
won't.
striking out in a big game, and I can't remember exactly what it was.
No, my
His
friends.
pants fell down running to first.
No, my friends. Craig Counsell was on third base. Mariano Rivera was on the mound, and Luis Gonzalez hit a bloop single into left center.
This was
Craig Counsell scored the game-winning run of the 2001 World Series when the Arizona Diamondbacks toppled the Yankee dynasty.
big moment from what I understand.
That's Counsell on third, and he comes in to score, and he's the winner.
I really do. Back to this batting stance really quick. Him and Tony Batista, I need to hear why. How you feel so comfortable standing like that in the box. Please, tell me. Explain.
Career average 255. Not bad. Not bad with a goofy stance like that. His best season, he batted, that was only 177 at bats. I mean, listen, yeah, you got some stones if you're stepping up to the plate doing that.
Tell you what, man, I can't play baseball for S, but
This
I can
giant
probably
horde.
manage better than Phil Nevin, and he had a job.
He got handed him. He got just handed.
God
to him.
knows I can manage better than Aaron Boone. And you know what? Speaking of Aaron Boone, we're about to get into the guy next. This is the Hot Corner, Portland Sports Leader 1080 The
Please
Fan.
no.
Jay-Z might be known for his chart-topping hip-hop singles, but his investments in branding, entertainment, and fine art propelled him to billionaire status. That's right, his investments in fine art. Now, this potentially lucrative asset class is available to everyday investors like you with Masterworks. Masterworks allows anyone to invest in blue-chip artworks, just like billionaires and celebrities. With over 810,000 registered users and tens of millions in net proceeds paid out, some of Masterworks' new offerings have even sold out in minutes. Luckily, listeners can now skip the wait list at masterworks.com, promo code SATURN. That's masterworks.com, promo code SATURN. Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. Important Regulation A disclosures and aggregate advisory performance at masterworks.com.
It's King LASIK's biggest savings of the year this month. Save $1,500. Hey, it's Isaac Ropp. Through the end of this month at King LASIK, get $1,500 off LASIK plus 0% financing for 24 months OAC. This means the best all laser LASIK is $167 a month. King LASIK was a game changer. My vision is awesome with no glasses or contacts. I wish I'd done it sooner. Start enjoying life with perfect, clear, natural vision and get the peace of mind knowing the team of doctors at King LASIK, they performed over 250,000 procedures, the most experience in the Northwest. My King LASIK procedure was pain-free, over in minutes, and I was seeing 20/20 the very next day. Their experience, convenient Saturday procedures, and affordability make now the best time for King LASIK. Remember, through the end of this month, $1,500 off plus 0% financing for 24 months OAC. This makes payments $167 a month. It's King LASIK's biggest savings of the year. Schedule your free Zoom consultation at kinglasik.com.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This is the Hot Corner with Patrick Harris and Joe Fisher on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
All right, next week we'll be back as per usual in this time from 8 to 10. Next week we'll keep an eye on some free agent possibilities. Always we're on Shohei Ohtani watch. Plus, I'd like to really dive into kind of the Mets situation going on forward as they hire a new manager. What's going on with Pete Alonso, the GM situation. So we'll get to that next week, and we got Fair or Foul coming up here in about 15 minutes. But I'd like to use this opportunity to do one of my all-time favorite things, which is talk about why the New York Yankees absolutely struggle. And here we are, as there's a lot to unpackage with this. The Yankees have decided they are bringing back Aaron Boone to manage the team next year. It sounds like old Hal Steinbrenner himself spoke to players about Boone and whether or not they should bring him back, and they ultimately decided to. Brian Cashman has been very vocal with the media, very defensive, I would say a little combative.
Potty mouth.
A little potty mouth.
Kiss your mother with that mouth? Where are you, New York?
And then there's a report out there that says Aaron Judge said something to Brian Cashman, which kind of contradicts
something
everything
about forget about it or something like that.
Brian Cashman doubled down on. My friends, is there a team in more disarray in baseball right now than the New York Yankees?
If there is a city, as far as sports go, that is in more disarray, it's New York.
It's New York. It's New York with Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. And
did you see their game a couple weeks ago?
I did.
You did?
I did, and I never watched.
Why?
Because I wanted to see the train wreck.
But no, I mean the Yankees. This is listen, man. Their standard it's high, and when they have a season where they just finished 500, it feels like they just lost 100 games.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you got Cashman cursing at reporters, not at reporters, but during his answers to them. I mean, you can.
Meanwhile, Garrett Cole's about to win a Cy Young.
I know, right?
Like,
it's but hey, man, we were talking about this 3 months ago. I mean, towards season's end, when this was looking like this, and I mean, we can check the tapes. I feel that I'm pretty confident in saying that. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna probably bring him back.
Yeah, you were right. I was the guy banging.
Not surprised.
I was the guy that was banging that they were saying it, and I actually.
Because again, what are they going to do? Carlos Mendoza, just call him up? I mean,
it's funny because I would have said
you're going to have him be the Yankees manager. It's like you go from Aaron Boone to what? I'll bid for
Craig Counsell.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to eventually.
Got the money.
They do, and they're going to eventually have to do that for someone. I mean, that's what it is. It's like they might be sitting on their hands for now because they are saying that Boone is
Rocco Baldelli is the future New York Yankee manager.
Yeah, right.
What are we going to do in a couple of years when S really hits the fan and we're not even finishing 500 and we have Boone? Well, then we're going to have to fork over the money for someone.
Everybody a decade and a half ago was waiting for Mattingly to be like the guy in the wings to take the job from Joe Torre. So why not just go full circle?
You mean the Minnesota Twins manager? He's not available.
I thought he was the Brewers.
Sorry, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah,
Milwaukee,
exactly.
Minnesota, same place. I think if you asked me 3 weeks ago, what's the Yankees' biggest problem, and I would say it's bringing Aaron Boone back. That's some of the least of my concern right now. I think Cashman, his outburst, I'm not so worried about. Like, you're a GM. It's a high-profile market. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. You want to be honest. You want to be brash. You know, I sat here and stuck up for DePoto for being honest. And he made a mistake, and he owned it. And I give that man an ton of respect for doing that. Just like I'll give Cashman some respect for what he's trying to say to people. People are doubting how his system works, how his process works, and he's stuck up for his team and himself. However, Cashman is now, in my opinion, the biggest problem in New York. Going off on reporters saying, you think we only do this? Well, we don't. You think I have an analytics team? I have the worst analytics team in baseball. You're like, uh-oh, flags. We go based off what we see. Flags. You should be doing both. And every team in baseball that's succeeding is doing both. Yeah, Bruce Bochy, old school manager, just won a World Series. Yeah, he won that by being an old school manager. They also won by having guys like Jonah Heim and Josh Chung and taking a fat risk on Marcus Semien that paid out and getting some guy named Adolis and also putting the cash truck up for Corey Seager. Things you used to do. You want to bash on analytics and you want to stick up for your squad, I'm totally for that. But you can't do that and then be exposed for being wrong. The reports are out there saying that Aaron Judge told Brian Cashman, hey, man, focus on RBIs and batting average because those correlate. You don't need a Michael Brantley who bats .316 but hits 12 home runs and has 45 RBIs. He's the outlier of this. But guys that have a high batting average and high RBIs tend to hit in high leverage situations, paging Matt Olson. And so I think when Aaron Judge is telling Brian Cashman this, but Brian Cashman is telling the media, look, we are not analytic driven. Bro, you look bad. You look real bad. You look like you have no idea what the hell's going on.
Well, it's funny when, analytics as far as batting goes over the last decade has told us that, strikeouts are fine as long as you're hitting home runs, right?
Don't matter.
Hit dingers, hit bombs. Get Judge, get Giancarlo Stanton, get Donaldson. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, just get these guys. Get, I'm blanking on who's Rizzo. Get Rizzo.
Yeah.
Just get dudes who can hit big home runs, power. DJ LeMahieu, not power. I mean, there's a guy that was hitting for average. I mean, can't really be mad at the Yankees for him just falling off the face of a cliff. But I think that you're right because, as you've said, over the last probably season and a half, 2 seasons now for the Yankees, the team's not good.
No.
So who does that fall on?
It falls on Cashman. And he had another quote talking about former players.
Especially offensively not good.
Yeah, he had a quote talking about other players. Just like everybody wanted to kill us for the Joey Gallo trade. I don't remember what he said about
Joey Gallo was another one I was thinking of.
But he said, and everybody wanted
now he's on 2 playoff teams.
And then he said, and they wanted to kill us about Sonny Gray, and he's in the Cy Young race this year. Yeah, not for your team. Not for your team.
I hate
it. What is your point here? Yeah. You grabbed a guy and then let him go? I think the Yanks are in big problems, okay? You look at the Angels got serious problems because they're about to lose the best player in baseball, right? There's nothing that can be worse than losing the best player in baseball. And what? They offered him a qualifying offer, so they're going to get an extra first-round pick? Cool, dude. You're losing Shohei. That is decimation. However, if you're the New York Yankees, there is no possible situation worse than what you're walking into next year.
Do you think they panic this free agency cycle and just swing big?
Probably, but who are they going to get?
I mean, you went and got Rodon last year, so I mean...
And look how good that turned out for you.
Yeah.
Like, who's available? I heard they might be interested in a Jordan Montgomery reunion.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
That trade was so great, right, Cash? Just like the Sonny Gray trade, and then you watch him go somewhere else and win a Cy Young and win a World Series? This Yankee team is an absolute disaster. If I'm them, pass on Cody. Pass on Shohei. Pass on all these quick fixes. Get the old guys out. See what your kids can do. Do something. Be a parent. Be an adult. Be anything. Because right now, you are mediocrity at its finest.
This is the headline from NewJersey.com. Status quo Yankees already appear doomed for 2024 too.
There's no way. Who in this free agency class, if they signed everyone available in free agency, and that includes Shohei Ohtani, do you really think they've got a shot next year?
Even with him?
What does Shohei do for the Yankees right now?
I mean, he's only hitting. So
what is this?
I mean, pitch.
You kind of saw what he did for the Angels last year, and it didn't really matter.
What, you got 2 Aaron Judges?
Well, yeah, one player can't give you a World Series.
You got 2 Aaron Judges. Well, that's better than 1, but 1 couldn't get you anywhere anyway.
Dude, give me a bullpen. Which is something Yankees have been good over the last couple of years is having a
I
good
agree.
bullpen.
I agree.
Though, can I lament, though, just the lack of. They obviously don't care much about analytics, but the lack of actual wanting to hire talent for your hitting coach. I think they're bringing back basically another organizational guy that had been there before. His name's James Rosen, if you've heard of him. I think he left the organization for a couple of years to take a similar job. Either
He's
with
my boy.
Yeah, the Indians or somewhere else. But I would rather they
Guardians.
have kept the Guardian. Damn, sorry, the Guardians. I would rather have
20
them.
years. I had to break it.
I would rather have them kept Sean Casey, who has major league experience, who could tell them in a situation what they're supposed to do, trying to work the count. It's the same problem I have with the Mariners, having a 29-year-old hitting analytics dude who's trying to give them situational awareness. It's like, that dude has no experience. He shouldn't be here, and neither should Rosen in New York. It's ridiculous.
I think the Yankees, and we'll get out on this because I'd like to spend some fun, and one more to Joe, and I'd like to spend some fun on fair or foul. But I think the Yankees are basically at this. You talk about Belichick in New England, okay? Talk about maybe Doc Rivers, You talk about these coaches and these organizations where maybe the game's passed you by. Pop, we'll see how that turns out. Wembayama might give him a little, boost in the keister and get back to his glory days. But right now, when I look at the Yankees, there's two words that I think of, and they might be the most dangerous thing in sports. My words for the Yankees are, okay, boomer. You know what I mean? Like, am I about to drop that on the New York Yankees? Like, the Yankees are dangerously walking into the 80s territory. And 80s Yankees is the lowest part of their history since the 20s. And this is where you're going now. We're not big analytics. And don't you come at me about being big. Oh, okay, man, I'll get off your lawn. Jesus. Aaron Boone's great. Oh, okay, man. Okay. Aaron Boone's great. Fine. I don't have to have him as my manager. You can have him. Quit yelling at me, bro.
I think Cashman, his little moment that he had yesterday.
I won 4 World Series in 5 years. Sorry, Joe. I was just trying to play it up again.
Where are your rings, Ernie?
Well, he falls under that category, too, of a guy that was hired without any experience, right?
I had 6 rings.
I just think with Cashman, his little moment he had yesterday, when you have headlines like you saw there, where it's like, yep, doomed already for 2024. I don't think that. I think that's the backed in the corner mentality, and things are going bad.
A wounded animal,
and you're just sick of everybody calling you out about it, and you doing that to the New York media, like. Regardless of if it was directed at you, you said it right at to them, so they're gonna take that a little bit like it was at them.
And they don't care
and
what
against
you've
them.
They don't care what you've won.
I don't think it's gonna get ugly.
Hey man, it's been almost 15 years
imagine
since
this
you've won
team
something.
First 30 days is or first 30 games is 9-21.
Yeah.
10-20. I mean,
stay the course. I talked to the players. They like Boone.
Pinstripes are pretty cool.
Well, yeah, he lets me eat fried chicken and play video games and get wasted in the locker room. Of
That's
course, I
not
like
Tito.
that guy. Tito was also great, though.
Oh, speaking of old retread managers, let's bring Bobby Valentine back, huh?
Yeah, all right.
Bring him into the Astros
hey,
locker
Buck's
room.
Buck's a free agent. Buck's a free agent.
No, just call it, dude. I don't want to see Buck go there anymore. I feel like he's just getting his heart broken even more and more. Bring back Bobby Valentine, throw him in the Houston clubhouse.
Dude, only if he wears the glasses and mustache.
Yeah, Tony La Russa is starting to heal up again.
No, La Russa's out. We're done with him.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on the Yankees, as we love to pile on this show, especially since Voldemort's been out. What, Joe?
Reddit post on the Yankees subreddit from yesterday.
Oh, hit me. God, I love a Yankees Reddit must be. I'm going to start following it just to watch.
A post from yesterday. Today was one of the most embarrassing days in recent Yankee history. 217 upvotes. It's doing some numbers.
Did you give him an upvote?
You know what? Why not? There you go. 218.
18. All right, there we go. All right, we come back. We'll dive into everybody's favorite segment, fair or foul. But before we do that, of course, we'll throw it to Schultz with sports.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Portland Trailblazers battling the Kings down in Sacramento right now. A full slate of NBA games happening along with the Blazers. Guess what? The Blazers lead Sacramento 109-105, about a minute 50 to go in the game. Jeremy Grant leading the way, 33 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks so far for Rip City. See if they can pull that one out. Elsewhere on the NBA scoreboard, one other game still in progress. The Warriors and the Nuggets are going at it. About 15 seconds to go in the game. Denver leads that one by 2, 107-105. Already finished up for the evening. Sixers beat the Celtics 106-103. Nets edge the Clippers 100-93. Knicks over the Spurs 126-105. And a last-second three by Brook Lopez leads Milwaukee over the Detroit Pistons 120-118. Moving on to college football, new playoff rankings are out, and they're looking the same as last week's. Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, and Florida State are the current 4-team playoff. Some changes, though, in the lower rankings. Washington and Oregon still at 5 and 6. Oregon State, though, leaping up to 12. Utah stays at 18. Arizona now number 21. UCLA and USC falling out of the rankings. And big news out of baseball, the LA Angels hiring Braves third base coach Ron Washington as their new manager. He led the Rangers to back-to-back World Series in 2010 and 2011. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Watch and wager on pro and college football from across the country at Spirit Mountain Casino. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming.
class, also known as Fisher, Harris, and Schultze. Is that how that works?
Sort of.
All right, this is called Fair or Foul. We are in a teaching moment. Boy, Joe read me some comments from some Yankee fans on Reddit.
Yeah, I'll read this one because it's
Boy, it's full meltdown.
This one is even worse. So they were saying it was the worst, most embarrassing day in recent history for the Yankees. This one goes on to say all of Yankees history. The Yankees GM Brian Cashman displayed an aggressively high level of unhinged arrogance and complacency blended with the colossal amount of condescension directed primarily at the media and secondarily at Yankees fans, along with anyone who dares to challenge his management and doesn't reflexively bend the knee and kiss his ring in general. The Yankees owner, Hal Steinbrenner, displayed a complete disconnect with the pulse of the Yankees fan base, a shallow understanding of contemporary baseball, and demonstrated in such a way that revealed him to be an unambiguously weak and ineffectual leader of men. Today, the world saw the Yankees GM as a pretentious little despot and the Yankees owner as an out-of-touch eunuch. Today was one of the most embarrassing days in all of Yankees history.
Yes, I agree. Fair or foul? Fair. Yeah, my man. Preach. Preach, dude.
When you put it so eloquently there, sir, Mr. Glacier_Bay on Reddit.
I wish it was like...
I agree.
I wish it was like lowercase x, capital X, space 6969420, lowercase x, capital X. Like an old Xbox gamer tag.
Yeah, I'm upset that it wasn't Drew Nasty or
D's.
Or David Ortiz used PEDs, one of those usernames.
Was it D's?
D's who?
D's nuts. Nice. Got him.
I
Without
knew
further ado.
I knew it was happening.
I knew you did. We'll turn it over to our fantastic producer, Mr. Jordan Schultz.
I wanted to give it to you.
I can't follow
appreciate
D's
it.
nuts. I cannot follow D's nuts. No way. Let's see here.
Why, can they not get at you?
Huh?
Can they not get at you?
No, I just following D's nuts is hard to do, man. Anyways, hey, all right. Fair or foul number one. We were talking during the break. You were asking me about a certain hitter, but there's a lot of hitters in the free agent class coming up here. I think they can start signing guys like in a couple of days, if I'm not mistaken. So fair or foul, this year's free agent class of hitters is weak, making each team's decisions that much more important. Fair or foul?
I'll start this off just because Patrick was reading off some of the names here 5 to 10 minutes ago.
Twas.
Say fair. Does not seem like the answer to the Yankees' woes is on the horizon.
I don't see two left-handed outfielders in there that they could salivate over. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is always tough. It happens every single year. The market always dictates the price. Yeah, this is a very weak hitting class. I mean, obviously Shohei is the prize, but after that, it's a pretty steep drop-off. Matt Chapman being maybe the number 3 hitter on the market is a little terrifying. He started really hot last year. He plays great defense, so you know that's going to be a solid position if you sign him. It's just the question is what does Matt Chapman cost? You know, like if you look at a team like the Yankees who need a third baseman, the Mariners who might need a third baseman, the Angels need a third baseman, the Giants need a third baseman. Matt Chapman would be a great fit, but is he going to cost too much money because there's nobody else out there? I'm with Joe on this. I think that's the answer. And what I'm most worried about with this class, which is what I'm watching very intently, and I think because of who his people are and because of his family and how he came through and how he had instant success and then big struggle and got kicked to the curb, the answer for me right now is what does Cody Bellinger do in this offseason? He is the guy I'm watching.
Were you serious about
I'm
that?
dead serious.
I was just pulling up.
I know you showed me that, and I was like, he has no idea I'm about to go there. Cody Bellinger, to me, is the real big thought because Cody Bellinger, to me, is the kind of guy that is going to walk into a team and push them over the World Series, or he's the next Chris Bryant. And I am fascinated by what he does. If I'm him, I sign with the Cubs for 2 years. What the market dictates is he signs with the Yankees, Giants, or Mariners for 6 years, $200 million, and it blows up in their face. Cody Bellinger, in my opinion, will set this market. Shohei's his own thing. Cody's the guy you got to watch right now. And I pray to God, because I love his 2023 season. I really hope he makes the right move here. Obviously, he's got to make it for himself. But from a baseball nerd, please get with the right team. Please.
Well, he might not, because someone's going to overpay.
Of course.
Always.
Of course.
I'm going to bank on it's not going to be the right fit for him.
But like, just try. Just try. Don't go sign with the Yankees. That's a terrible move. They're not good in 3 years, and you're out of the league in 3 years. Go to the Giants. They're going to give it a shot. Go to the Mariners. They're going to give it a shot. Just go somewhere that somebody is going to give you an opportunity. Please.
Outside of the 3 guys you just named, the best bat is like Jorge Soler, maybe Teo after that. JD Martinez is kind of up there, but yeah, this is just not a good class. Like if I'm looking at the Mariners signing Justin Turner as one of their 3 big grabs, I'm not very happy. All right, fair or foul number 2. Craig Counsell, new manager of the Cubs, is the missing piece in Chicago. Fair or foul, Craig Counsell is the missing piece for the Chicago Cubs.
I'll take this one first. Missing piece, no. The piece, maybe. I think the biggest reason the Cubs grab Craig Counsell as their manager is not to hide blemishes. It is not to find the weaknesses and make them average. I think the reason the Cubs have Craig Counsell is they're going to lock down Cody. They're going to go get a Jordan Montgomery. They're going to take a swing at these Japanese guys, and they are willing and ready to spend money on this roster. I think they look at it and say, what we have, what we're in control of, we really, really like. Marcus Stroman, you want to walk? Cool. See ya. David Ross, thanks. Appreciate it. See ya. We're about to make moves. I think the Craig Counsell hire is indicative of them willing to go for it.
Well, look at this roster as far as what's going to be coming back next year for them. Dansby Swanson, another Gold Glove for him.
And he's your guy. You've locked into him.
Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki. You mentioned that they might just bring in another Japanese player. Not Shohei, because that's actually been linked a little bit there now. I think I saw a report today.
I mean, I think with the Craig Counsell hire, does Shohei not think about it? I don't think he's going there.
Big market.
But think about it.
Big market. Jameson Taillon, who had a semi-decent year this year, but I don't care if he's on this Cubs team or not going forward. Nico Horner, Justin Steele.
Love Steele. Love Steele.
Patrick Wisdom, Nick Madrigal, Christopher Morel. Those are some names that are bringing back next year. Why not build upon it? I mean, like, you could probably get some veteran guys. I mean, just had the free agency roster up. I mean, like, you had a Mitch Garver to this team,
right? Who
was pretty
the
solid
Rangers
for that
are letting
Rangers
go.
Team. I mean, I'd have to look at the depth chart a little bit more, but I don't know if it's the move, because I feel like you still need to add a few more pieces to this roster to round it out. Clearly, I mean, they didn't even make the playoffs.
I think this is just the warning shot going up, saying we're players. We might not get Shohei. Hey, we'll go watch someone else pay money for Shohei. Everybody else, we might grab.
All right. Got to get my Mariners in for this fair or foul.
Do it.
Our.
Your Mariners, too?
Just a hater over here.
No, look at you see this? I don't see any of you guys wearing Mariners gear on YouTube.
I wore a Mariner hat last week.
You did. I forget. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I got to rep the second best team in the Pac-2.
Yeah, them Wazoo Cougars, baby.
Even though we beat the first best team in the Pac-2.
It's important. All right, so the Mariners, even before the off-season moves started to be made, they were looking at acquiring a couple of bats. Now, with Teoscar Hernandez not being offered a qualifying offer, it looks like they're going to be in the market for at least 3. They didn't have a DH last year. They need hitters. So fair or foul, the Mariners made a huge mistake by not offering Teoscar Hernandez that $20 million qualifying offer. Fair or foul?
$20 million.
It's 24.5, is it not?
Billy, the qualifying offer was around 24 million.
Yeah, I think because it's across the board for everybody on every team.
Yes, exactly.
So the Angels offered Shohei 24.5.
And I think the Mariners offered him
I think
right
he's
around
thinking
20.
about it. I think he's thinking about it.
I mean, are we really like 24 and a half, Teoscar Hernandez? The way that baseball is played today, as far as in the front office, I'm not missing Teoscar if I'm not having to give him 24 and a half. I mean, this year, inconsistent. He's been inconsistent with the Mariners. I think that he's starting to show that probably that all-star season with the Blue Jays might have been a little bit of a fluke. I don't know. I've soured on this Mariners roster in some areas, and Teoscar is one of them.
Just so you guys know, it was a qualifying offer of 1 year, $20.325 million that the Mariners did not offer him.
I don't know. It's giving $20 million to him when I'm seeing teams like the Diamondbacks and the teams like the Orioles, the teams like the Rays, building their rosters and giving dudes nothing. It seems like year after year. I don't know. It's hard.
I'm going to dive into this, and I can't disagree with Joe more, simply because I don't think Joe is hammering it home enough. The Mariners not offering a qualifying offer to Teoscar Hernandez is an insanely great idea. And the reason is because Teoscar Hernandez strikes out too much. He doesn't do enough from the right side of the plate, which is what the Mariners desperately need.
Problem.
You are being too kind, Joe. And here's the biggest problem. Yeah, if you give a qualifying offer to a guy and they say no, you get a first-round draft pick. Super dope. Guess what? If I'm Teoscar Hernandez and the Mariners offer me a qualifying offer for 1 year at $20.5 million, I'm taking it. And that's a bad deal for the Mariners. That's why they didn't do it. That is exactly why Dipoto didn't do it. Because he said, a first-round draft pick is great for me in like 4 years. I need something now. And if I offer him a qualifying offer, he's going to accept it for 1 year and try to do reclamation. And he came out and said, I need a better right-handed bat that plays better defense and has more RBIs. And Teoscar, I'm sorry, man, is not it. So adios, because I'm going to use that money on a Cody Bellinger, or I'm going to use that money on a bullpen, or I'm going to use that money on Shohei Ohtani. This is where I absolutely 100% agree with Dipoto on. Teoscar, thank you. It was a nice shot. It didn't take much to get him. Adios.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you guys. You say foul on that, I say fair. The numbers that it looks like Teo's going to get seem to be around 20 to 21 mil a year, either from the Dodgers or from...
Don't care. I've seen it. It's not worth it to me.
There's no way he was going to take that qualifying
It's not
offer,
worth
though.
it for me
There's no
because
way.
if I like Kelnick in right, if I like Kelnick in left, and I think Kelnick is going to be solid, and Julio in center, I'm already going to spend money. I'll go find somebody for right, and I think they can do better than Teoscar Hernandez for less money.
Teoscar, he batted in that All-Star season, .296, gave you 32 dongs, 116 RBIs. In his 2 years with the Mariners, 25 home runs and 26 home runs, respectively, 77 RBIs. He did have 93 this year.
I'm not paying $1 million for a home run.
I'm sorry. This was the only year he was on the Mariners. I apologize. This year batted .258. So his 1 year in the Mariners, 26 home runs, 93 RBIs, batted .258, 741 OPS.
I think it was a great shot by Dipoto. I think Dipoto made a great shot to go get him.
For sure.
You went after a guy that's like a Marcus Semien, and it's funny because they were on the same team at the same time. And Marcus Semien looked like a really bad deal in Texas when they grabbed him. And that might be the difference, because the next year Semien played better, and he looks really good now. But one good year does not equate to a good contract. And I'll give Dipoto credit for not... I'd rather overpay Cody Bellinger after I just said don't overpay Cody Bellinger than give Teoscar 25.
If you look at his 162 average, Throughout his career, though, you're looking at 32 home runs, 94 RBIs, 261 average, 802 OPS, and he's about to enter his age 31 season. He's about to get that dad strength.
As we've been talking about, guys, the free agent market is so lax. So you're right. You're right. You know, I know that the Mariners, they've been talking about trading maybe for Juan Soto. They've got the young pitching to do that. But outside of that, once again,
That's something we should talk about next week. Juan Soto.
Absolutely.
Oh, I saw it coming up on some of the stuff I was looking
Sorry,
on.
Jordan.
No, it's cool. No, I was just going to say I will be pissed if it's like a 38, 39-year-old Justin Turner that's coming in to fill one of those gaps because you just can't not swing this year.
Yeah,
if you're
but
the
he
Mariners.
costs $12 million.
But that's not enough, and it's and you're talking about stats that were inflated in Boston. Every time you go to Fenway Park and you have a year like that, it's going to be good because you have a short field, left field porch, and then in right field there's a massive gap. It happened with Adrian Beltre. He had a terrible Mariners career, 1 season in Boston. 6-year deal with the Rangers.
Well, my friend, I mean, for the YouTube fans out there, we all know how that happened with Adrian Beltre. All right, we come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up, put a pretty little bow on it. The hot corner today, the fan.
It's King LASIK's biggest savings.
Hot corner, we do this bad boy every single Wednesday. We'll be back next week. Who the Ducks got? What do you got? USC at 7:30?
Yeah, bro.
How can you imagine? I could have never imagined at the beginning of the season that Oregon USC would be at 7:30 on the CW on a Friday night. I would have never thought that.
on the WB.
Her, there she coming out to the bar show. Yeah, Ducks USC on Saturday on Fox, but you can also catch it right here, home of the Ducks.
Why are you promoting the TV programming, bro?
Be right here on 1080 The Fan. I can't believe that game is at 7:30.
I was shocked.
I know the Big Ten brass is probably jazzed about it because it's a late window, but boy, if you told me at the beginning of the season USC Oregon was at 7:30, I'd call you a damn liar.
My aunt lives in Salem. She was texting me last week. She says, hey, we got to do something on Saturday next week, but I understand there's going to be an Oregon game. How can I plan ahead? I'm like, don't worry. Or if you do, it's probably going to be at like noon.
Yeah. You'll be totally fine.
Yeah. And she's like, when did they announce the game time? I had to explain to her the whole why it is. And
now you're like, get the hell out of Eugene.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
because it's going to be a disaster down there.
Hot route.
Oh, God. Yeah, I might just stay like until Sunday, like 5 p.m. Like, there's no chance getting out of there.
Yeah, do the Ducks win by 20 or 30?
30.
30?
I think they want to kick the living S out of them right now.
I think they
will. They know
but
they're down bad. Just make it worse.
I know, and it won't matter for the national landscape, but it will for them. Just to feel good. Especially as Bo looks over at Caleb and says, I know that trophy you got.
Slight work.
I want one too.
42-21, that's my pick.
42-21, not bad. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll be back next week. We got a lot of off-season stuff to get through, so keep it up right here. For Joe Fisher and Schultze behind the glass, I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something I would do.